Welcome to the Bank First Ranger Hour. Super Talk Mississippi 93.7 Spotlight on Northwest Community College. And you can listen to our live stream at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the Bank First Ranger Hour. Now, here's your host, Gary Darby.
On Thursday, we do call the North Mississippi Spotlight Bank First Ranger Hour. We thank Bank First. We thank Northwest Community College for all the information we put out today and each and every Thursday that we're able to key this mic and do so with you. Today on February 12, 2026, the lineup shakes out like this. Men's basketball coach John Redmond's back with us. We'll talk the men's basketball team with coach, and one of his players, Zahir Gutierrez, will join us. We'll catch up and tell you about that young man and the rest of what we're calling the running Rangers now, because Coach Redmond has brought in a high-flying offense. We'll tell you all about that and the early start. I guess now it's kind of late, right? The start for them overall, still kind of early in the play in Mississippi and the conference. So we'll get into a few of the things there, and a big game for Northwest, both men and women, coming up today in Senatobia, with Jones coming to town. The women's team receiving votes for Jones. The men's team nationally ranked. They're in Senatobia and Howard Coliseum. 5:30 for the women, and the men to follow after that. We'll get some details, at least from the men's side of things, with Coach Redmond and Zahir coming up on today's program. And then we'll get another national champion. This time Larissa Gaines from the dance squad is going to join us. A three-peat national championship in hip-hop. We'll talk with Larissa. We'll find out about, again, what it was like to be a national championship winner in what has now been an unbelievable run for cheer and dance at Northwest Community College. We have other things we'll get to and chat with you about as well with Northwest on today's program. How we doing out there? We've made it to Thursday. I also want to let you know that Archie Manning In Conversation is going to be at the Heindl Center on Friday of next week, Friday the 20th. Archie is scheduled to be with me on next week's Ranger Hour, but I've got seats to give away to see Archie Manning In Conversation at the Heindl Center next Friday. I'm going to give some of those away today, and we'll give some away next week on the program. And I'm going to be looking for, we'll give two winners some seats today. We'll give two of you 2 seats today, and then next week we'll give the remaining seats for the show coming up at the Heindl Center. So you'll need to know the text message line. That's the simplest way to kind of do it when you're the one-man show and rolling things here. So know this number, 662-426-1093. 662-426-1093. A little bit later in the program, I'm going to ask you to text message in, and then we'll find a way to give two of you an opportunity to win some seats to Archie Manning In Conversation at the Heindl Center next Friday. So we have that going on today's program as well. All right, friends, today's show, again, a good one. We will talk basketball in the next segment with Northwest men's basketball coach John Redmond and a player, and then we will get to a national championship dancer, and then we will have other sports news that I need to get to you with the schedule and baseball playing and softball in action and the basketball games going on. In fact, it's a full day of sports on the Northwest campus today. And then I will give you that opportunity to win some seats to the Heindl Center for Friday, February 20, where Archie Manning will be in conversation. And so we will have those. It's a 7 o'clock show next Friday. You do need that text message number of 662-426-1093 if you're at work or if you're at home. Obviously, we can't text and drive, but we need to be ready to do that to be a part of the show. There are a lot of other things that are going on at Northwest Community College. You know, we mentioned John Lamar winning the Spirit of Northwest Award. We've got the Northwest Soirée we'll start talking about in future shows as well, the main fundraising event that would come up in the spring, and we'll start to get some of those award winners on the program. We did so last year. At least I would assume we're going to make that run throughout and talk to some of the good people in North Mississippi that are big parts of things going on at NWCC. The Bank First Ranger Hour. We're underway and rolling here on this Thursday, February 12, 2026. Want to remind you, anywhere we can get a podcast later on today, we'll have this up and rolling for you. We'll talk men's basketball and national championship dancing, plus other things on today's Bank First Ranger Hour.
This hour is everything Northwest. Your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College and powered by Bank First. Thanks for joining us on the Bank First Ranger Hour. Join the conversation now by texting 662-426-1093.
All right, two things. You just heard the text message line, and you just heard the ad for Archie Manning next week in Senatobia on Friday the 20th, 7 o'clock. So that text message line is open at 662-426-1093, and I've got to make it as simple as possible. The first two people that text message in to 662-426-1093, I'm going to give you 2 seats to see Archie in Senatobia and the conversation that he will have. And we already have one, and boom. All right. Well, thank you for participating. We have our winners, and we will try and do this again next week on the program. So I will get some information, and here's what you do. Those of you that are texting in, do me a favor, put your name on there, and then I'll get right back with you after the show, and we'll get you a couple of tickets. I've given away 4 of what I have. Next week, we'll try and do it again. John Redmond's the head coach of the men's basketball team at Northwest. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great. How you doing this morning?
Good. Giving away a few tickets. Go talk a little basketball with you, and I believe we have one of your players there, and Zahir Gutierrez, who's with us as well. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Coach, let's start with you a little bit, because we've tagged running on front of the Rangers with what you're doing. We talked about, your team a couple of times and the vision and how you wanted this team to be. Obviously, you got the winning record. You'd like to have a few more, but is this team working how you want it to right now?
Yeah, no doubt. We're averaging right at 100 points a game. Obviously, we're first in the conference in scoring, top 5 in the nation in scoring. We're first in the conference in turnovers forced, like right under 19. And at the end of the day, guys, when you come play us, it's going to be a track meet, and it's kind of thing. Everybody in the league kind of knows that. We're playing really fast, and playing all 12 guys, and man, our guys, it really putting a show on guys. And that thing is, I tell the guys all the time, man, hey, I want to wheel a deal, let the crowd feel it. I want to put on a show on. I think our guys are doing that for sure.
All right, let's go from the player's perspective, and let's start, Zahir, first of all with you. Tell us a little background info, kind of where you're from, if you don't mind, and then how you made your way to this basketball team at Northwest.
Yes, sir. So I ended up going to Mexico, then later up ended here in Olive Branch, Mississippi, which is where I played high school ball at. Ended up winning a state championship there, got player of the year for my region. Ended up committing to another school, Pro River. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. Well, really more fortunately, because I ended up coming here to Northwest to play for Coach.
Do you have the green light? Is that easy to say? Like most of you do, I would imagine. But you have made more and shot more than anyone else has on the team. So when it gets into your hands, do you just let it fly?
Yes, sir. Yes, I have the green light. I think Coach Redmond's done a great job in installing that confidence in me. And honestly, without him giving me the green light, I would not be where I'm at. So I'm super thankful for that.
So it's obviously pretty fun, right?
Yes, sir. It is really fun.
I tell Zahir, if it feels like leather, let it go.
That makes a lot of sense. So whoever wants to answer it, tell us about practice, because you've got to work on this. It's not just we go out there, we roll the ball, and we pass it once or twice and jack up a shot. I mean, there's some thought process to it. Coach, take us through that if you don't mind. And then, if you both don't mind, I'm going to talk about a game I called on radio last night. But the thought process through practice that leads onto the floor. Go.
Yeah, practice for us, we basically play every day 5-on-5. And I think, basketball's played 5-on-5, so why not practice 5-on-5 as much as possible? And our big thing is, we make teams every day, and we try to compete. And every day there's a winner and a loser. And they know, hey, who's winning, who's losing. And I really believe guys, over time, they're going to play their strength. And so, we just try to showcase guys' strength. And like I said, and then we really, really talk about effort and really talk about just playing hard. And that's what we try to coach. And I think it's really hard to coach, making shots and missing shots, but you can coach effort. And, you can coach having a great attitude. And that's one thing I think, our guys, man, our guys play so hard, it's not even funny. And they have a great attitude. And that's one thing I'm most proud about is that right there. Our guys, we have a great attitude. And they play their tails off.
What about practice, Zahir? I want you to talk about that a little bit and the competition that's there. How competitive is it?
I've been a part of so many programs and winning programs, and I've never been to a practice like this before. It's so crazy. Every day you compete, coach installed the mindset of you got to win every single day, and when you lose, you take it to the heart. So next day in practice you come back even harder, and then you beat them. Then the other guys come back even harder. So it's you go back and forth, and everything we do is fast paced. We run everywhere. And if you go slow, it's just not going to be able to work out. So we just compete every day, and it's honestly pretty awesome. I've never seen anything like it.
All right, so guys, I told you I was going to do this as the voice of Ole Miss basketball. When I gave the final numbers and I read the stat sheet last night, I was kind of caught off guard a little bit. Ole Miss lost to Alabama by 19, but made 29 field goals to Alabama's 26. And then you look, and Alabama made 9 more threes and then 16 more free throws. That didn't surprise you, did it, Coach Redmond?
It did not, and because Alabama, we're kind of in obviously on a smaller scale. We play kind of the same way. It's kind of that money ball, play the numbers idea. This year we have taken 428 more threes than our opponents. We've made 153 more than our opponents. And we've taken 371 more shots. So at the end of the game, in the day, I don't think it's really hard. You get more shots, you get more threes, you got a chance to win. It's just numbers. So we're going more off that money ball approach and just playing the numbers, man. And I think a lot of teams are going to that, those kind of analytic approach, and more and more. What
are the minutes as far as distributing those? Well, how are you doing that with this team?
Well, we sub every 2 minutes, 5 in, 5 out, full hockey line change. And so our minutes. We have nobody playing over 25 minutes a game. So most guys, we'll probably have a group that might get 23, 24 minutes. Another group maybe get 18, 20 minutes. But we sub every 2 minutes, 5 in, 5 out.
13-8 overall, friends, and coming off of a win over Meridian last time out, 99 to 93. I guess, Zahir, with that, with the full hockey line change, most everyone is somewhat fresh, I guess, at money time for this money ball situation we're talking about.
Oh yeah, no, it's honestly awesome because you get to go as hard as you can for 2 minutes, and then you get the rest for 2 minutes. And at the end of the day, you're going to come right back in, so to leave it all out every single 2 minutes. And now you only do it for yourself, but you also do it for your team and for coach, which is I think is honestly really good. At first, it was hard to adjust, but once you adjust, it was game changing.
Tonight, Coach, Jones College comes in 18-7 overall, 7-2, nationally ranked. Give us some thoughts on that and what it will take for your team to come away with another one.
Well, all I'm going to say, Jones, they better be ready for track meet because we're going to be running from the tip, and that's what we do. Like you said, we're not hiding anything. We're going to shoot threes. We're going to press the whole game, and at the end of the day, that's how we're going to play. And so we're going to see how well they're conditioned, and how well they rebound it, and that's going to be the game night. Either we're going to make shots, we're not going to make shots, but I know this, we're going to shoot them up. And we're going to play really, really fast, and we have a lot of excitement, and we're trapping and stuff. And, man, I just really believe, man, high enthusiasm, equals high effort. And our guys, they're super enthusiastic, super just we're all together. And I think, the more you get belief, I think that just breeds.
Everybody has taken a three along the way. Some a lot more than others, but Zahir, don't you have to feed the bigger fellas every once in a while just to keep them engaged a little bit to rebound and kick that thing back out to you?
Oh no, yeah, 100%. Our big men, they've been getting on to me sometimes, so I gotta try to find a way to get them the ball. But I think it's kind of a philosophy of our offense is how coach tells us all the time, man, you should transition three, man, everybody's crashing, so we're more than 50% of the time we're gonna go get the rebound. That's where I think our big men just absolutely strive. Is they get the rebound, and that's just a putback for them.
Excellent, guys.
Yeah,
go ahead, Coach. Finish it up.
Well, our center's shooting 63% from the field.
I see that.
He's getting his fair share. Like I said, we're shooting and go get it. It's very simple. Shoot and go get it.
Well, tonight against Jones, and you have still the big stretch down to try and finish in the conference and see where it lies. But it has obviously been a good first 21 games for you. Best of luck in this one tonight, and we'll keep following these stats and numbers. And Zahir, keep chunking them up, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Coach. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks. Go Rangers.
Northwest and Jones tonight. Good stuff. I'm looking at the stat sheet, and our guest that we had on there as well, Zahir Gutierrez, 56 of 171. That's just his numbers, and as Coach says, they get him up, 253 of 760. So they're a 33% entire team shooting the three through the first 21. And looking at, total numbers and what they score, 99.5 a game. 99.5 a game. You want to see some shots get up? Be in Senatobia tonight. Jones comes in nationally ranked. Rangers looking for that big win. They'll follow the women's game. We had Coach Williams on last week, and then they pulled the upset of Pearl River in overtime, 71-70. Maybe we can extend some magic to the men's side of things and get the game against Jones. They will also have Northeast coming into Senatobia on Saturday, and then Monday games at Southwest, and then we'll be 3 games deeper into the schedule when we get back and talk about what we will talk about on next week's show. There are other things that are happening in Northwest sports, and I'm going to get to those before we get to our next guest. And softball has obviously had weather that has gotten into the mix with them, but 2-0 on the season after beating Jackson State out of Jackson, Tennessee, 7-1 and 9-1. Coach Bramlett and the softball team are playing in the Coyote Classic in Gulf Shores, Alabama, starting tomorrow. Motlow State, Pensacola State, Gulf Coast State, and Reed State. Lots of states from different places for them. The next time softball will be at home is actually on Thursday of next week against National Park. Baseball and Coach Carson off to a 3-0 start, beating Missouri State West Plains 8-6, 8-7, and 10-1. And today, baseball against number 21, Lakeland. Lakeland plays in D1 in the NCAA world, Northwest in D2. So the Lakeland Lakers are in Senatobia for a scheduled one game today and 2 tomorrow at Jim Miles Field, Senatobia, in the Northwest campus. So there's a lot of baseball action for you this weekend. And then, of course, 5:30 for the Northwest women against Jones, and following it up right after that, the Northwest men and Jones. Thanks to Coach Redmond. Thanks to Zahir Gutierrez for being on the program. And thanks for a lot of you. A lot of people wanting to go and check out the conversation with Archie next Friday, and tickets today, 2 of them going to Chad in South Haven. So, Chad, thanks for being a part of it, as well as Deanie from Oxford. So, 4 of my tickets are gone. I do have more to give next week, and we're scheduled to have Archie on the program next Thursday to talk about his being in Senatobia on Friday. So thanks for listening, and always remember that text message line. 9:34 is the time, so a little late getting into break number 2, but good stuff from the men's basketball world and the rest of the sporting events that are going on. And next, we're going to talk with a national championship dancer. We'll continue the fun on today's Bank First Ranger Hour.
Thanks for listening to the Bank First Ranger Hour, your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College on Super Talk Mississippi 93.7 and streaming live at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the Bank First Ranger Hour.
Please do, friends. Each and every Thursday, we do this Bank First Ranger Hour. Put it up in podcast form later on the day. That is as long as the host here does what he's supposed to do and gets that information to the people that put that up. So if you missed the conversation with Coach Redmond and Mr. Gutierrez from the basketball team earlier, you can go back and listen. Or maybe you've got to cut out a little bit before the end of it and you can't hear some of my final discussion, but we have another national champion we need to talk with, and that's Larissa Gaines, who's on the phone with us now. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. You've got to be doing pretty good yourself, as
I am.
Yeah, you guys win another title along the way. We do this with first-time guests a little bit and get an opportunity to kind of meet you first of all, and then let me ask a few questions. So, were you from North Mississippi? Tell us about that, and then how and why Northwest Community College was a place for you.
Perfect. So, yes, I'm originally from Olive Branch, Mississippi, which is just a little bit outside of Memphis, Tennessee. I went to Lewisburg my entire grade school career, preschool through senior year of high school, and then I ended up coming to Northwest. And in terms of why Northwest, I personally never thought it was going to be for me. I always thought I was going to go to a university or to a 4-year immediately. And then after dealing with a back injury my senior year of high school and not really getting to dance as much as I would have liked, I ended up going to a dance clinic at Northwest just to kind of try it out, to kind of get back in the swing of things, and I fell in love with it. I'd been to one before, but this was an opportunity for me to really show what I could do as a senior in front of Patrice, our coach, and I just absolutely fell in love with it, and me and her have built a really, really great bond, and I loved getting to be a part of the team and just experience all the things that Northwest has to offer, and I literally never want to leave because I'll be back next year. So,
yeah, I understand. Expand on Coach Patrice Christian, if you don't mind. She comes from that Memphis background, national championships all over the place, and I don't know how you model your dance team and members after what she grew up in and has been involved in. But obviously the titles are still coming and great dancers are still there. Tell us about your coach and what that means to your program.
I think Patrice Christian, and I will die on this hill, that she is hands down the best coach I have ever had the pleasure of working with. And I wholeheartedly believe that is because she is invested in building great people before she builds great dancers. And so, throughout the national season, it does get hard. It does get strenuous. We all have our days where, practice doesn't go as well as we like, but we recover, we build, and we do even better. And I think she does such a great job of being the perfect ratio of being hands-on and hands-off that she allows us to really learn how to rely on each other, problem solve with one another, and learn how to appreciate one another and build trust within not just her, but within each other and within the program and the process that it creates to become national champions 3 times now.
I asked this question to one of the cheer team members who were down there and part of national championships as well. Before you went out on stage, kind of take us through that. What is that like, that moment, and then is it a relief when the routine finally starts? Kind of go with that actual before you get out there and do it. And look, I even said it with him. I mean, you are a part of the big puzzle, and all you can do is really go out and do your job. But take us through the whole emotion of that day.
So I always joke that whenever we get to nationals, we're almost entirely different people. Because really, whenever we're in the sweat box, which is where we practice, and we're doing our job and we're prepping to leave for Orlando, it's very business focused in terms of let's get the job done and do what we need to do so that our day can continue. And we love the process, but I always joke that whenever we get to Orlando and we're ready to compete and we see how far ahead we are in first or how much we have left to do in terms of doing our job so we can get that national championship, we always get very emotional backstage. And obviously we're a 2-year school, so we only have each other for 2 years, if that. And so we got backstage for nationals this year, and I was a little emotional last year, but I remember this year I was kind of looking around, and I was looking at everybody, and some of the people that I've never seen cry before, we all just kind of started crying because this was it. This was our moment. We knew we were ahead in first by 7 points, I believe. And so it was really just a great feeling to know that we kind of had to go out there, and all we had to do was our job and experience being on that stage together for the last time. And just really take it in and enjoy it. Because whenever you're in that arena, I think there's oftentimes this mindset that people from other teams, parents from other teams, other dancers themselves are kind of in there watching you, ready for you to fail. And I've been very fortunate to be part of a team that I've never really felt that off of anybody. We go out there, we feel the love, we feel the support, whether it's silent or as loud as it can possibly be. We know we have each other, and we know we have the people that got us to that point. And so whenever we were standing backstage, it was really emotional, but I would take happy tears of relief and of happiness and pride any day of the year.
Larissa, I'm glad to hear they still call the sweat box the sweat box. As a guy that was, I went there and worked at Northwest many years ago. It was called that then, and for those that don't know, little gym, now a big practice place that the cheer and dance actually have their own place that they can do things. I'm glad to know it's still called the sweat box. It's truthfully a sweat box, too.
No, it is. We've had many a hot days in there for sure.
There is no doubt about that. So which teams were you on in nationals?
So I was fortunate enough to get to be a part of the hip-hop team and the game day team. We're all obviously a collective part of Northwest Dance Team, but by UDA regulations, we can only compete 30 in game day alongside 2 mascots as well. And then for hip-hop, you can only compete 20, and we have a team of 38. So it was quite the process to dwindle it down to, see who was going to be able to go the distance and do the job, and every single person on our team is more than capable, but it's really finding that 20 or that 32 that gel the absolute best together, and I think Patrice does an absolute great job of finding the people that can do that job, as well as creating such strong team members that whether they're on the floor with you or not, they support you 110% along the way with no questions asked. Anything you need, anything you have questions about, your teammates are always there to support you. So I was lucky enough to feel that love on the floor, but absolutely every single person that's on that team does such an incredible job of being an integral part of the success and the victory. So
just a couple of minutes with you, just 2 more questions. And I have seen still photos, pictures of you guys, but also a little of video from the hip-hop and the routine. And so here's where I'm going with this. you sound like such a bubbly and nice and sweet little girl, right? Where does the attitude come from to get out and perform the routines like you did in that hip-hop world?
So during national season, we do something that I refer to as the wall of inspiration. And everybody writes their name on a paper, and your teammates can go around and write inspirational things or write motivation. But outside of our own personal papers, we also have a full wall of just quotes and things that we say during practice. And one of the things that goes up on the wall is you win your trophy in practice and you pick it up at the competition. So, the work doesn't start once you get there. The work starts all those hours before you ever even arrive in Orlando. And another thing that's on the wall is the word starving. And as two-time national champions going in for our third, we really had to have that mindset of we're starving for this. Every single person is on our tail. They want to beat us. They want to get the accolades and the recognition that Northwest has gotten these past few years. And we want to do the exact opposite. We want to defend that title, and we want to show them that we can continue to earn that title. But that requires that starving mindset. That requires us to really have that mindset of working our butts off in practice so that we can pick our trophy up whenever we get to the competition. And so it's having that level of trust and knowing that, you might feel a little bit silly when you're out there in practice on the mat, just going through the motions. The facials might seem a little bit silly, but whenever you watch the whole picture come together with costumes and music and lights and all the energy in the room, it's such a beautiful product that we've started to just not question the process whatsoever, because obviously it's working, and we want to continue to bring that level of success to the program. So if we have to make a few silly faces every once in a while, stick our tongue out, wink at the audience, wink at the judges, we do our job while we're out there, because we know that Patrice and the rest of our teammates do our job while we learn the sweatbox and in practice. Well
said. I like that answer. All right, last thing, you have to be getting an education while you're going to Northwest too. I think that's kind of a prerequisite. So what's your major? What are you striving to be there?
So I always joked that whenever I came to Northwest, I was coming to be an athlete rather than a student. But obviously education is very, very important, and my mindset since getting here has obviously changed. My parents raised me to be very invested in my education. So while I'm here, I am studying general business, and then I will be heading to Mississippi State after another year of being here, and I will earn a digital marketing degree, and I will be working in digital marketing, hopefully for big brands and organizations like Varsity and maybe other sports-related things about dance.
Good for you. It's good to hear a plan, know you have a plan, at least a goal to set and where you want to be, and I think, dance is going to help you through that. Everything that you've been through, right? Everything that you've been through, you've had to work for. There's no doubt about it. This has been a great conversation. Larissa, I really appreciate your time this morning. Congratulations on another championship ring, being a part of it, and hopefully there's many more for you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you. How about that? Larissa Gaines. Tremendous interview with that young lady. I liked all the answers. Very thoughtful, very insightful, gave us a little more insight into what it takes to be the athlete that they are and to compete at the national level while, yes, attending class, working on a degree, and being a normal human being away from school and dance as well. Great stuff. Good job by all the dance teams and the cheer squads as well. As we mentioned, more national championships, three-peat in hip-hop, just tremendous stuff. And we appreciate a couple of members on either side. Cheer last week, dance this week, for being with us on the Bank First Ranger Hour. They brought home 4 national championships, finished no lower than 3rd in the nation in any of the events in the 2026 UCA UDA College Nationals in Orlando. Great work. I'm telling you, I mean, the trophy rooms are full at NWCC, and I think there will be hopefully more to come. Just great stuff. And in each and every time, and I really like the fact that we've gotten some of our basketball players on with the coaches in the last couple of weeks, and then getting the members of these teams as well. Listening to these young men and women, heads seem to be on straight. And I think with each and every coach, we have always had the interviews with the coaches where they've told us the type individual they're trying to recruit to get there. And then I think you see in the battle of the grade point averages of all of these athletes in whatever sport it is, that not only is there success in their field of play, but they're having the success in the classroom as well. So good luck, Larissa, and getting that marketing degree, heading off to Starkville, being a part of the Bulldog Nation, and whatever else may come. Good stuff. Another good show. Again, it will be in podcast form later today. Want to thank our listeners, one in South Haven, one in Oxford today, each picking up 2 tickets to hear the conversation with Archie Manning next Friday in Senatobia at 7 o'clock at the Heindl Center for the Performing Arts. Next Thursday's show, I have a few more to give away. And then we're on schedule to have Archie and an interview on the program next week. So at least we know one of the guests that we will have on tomorrow's, or next week's rather, Bank First Ranger Hour. North Mississippi Spotlight on your Thursdays, the Bank First Ranger Hour. We had a good one. Men's basketball coach John Redmond, his player, leading three-point maker and taker, Zahir Gutierrez, and the national champion dancer, Larissa Gaines. Both of them from that Olive Branch area. One Olive Branch, one Lewisburg grad. So DeSoto County, good stuff. Plus a winner from DeSoto County. Big day all around on our program. Thanks for being with us. We hit the top of the hour. You'll find some news, and then you'll get Middays with Gerard coming up on the other side. Have a good Thursday, friends. So long.